Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ringmasters, the show where we interview the top brass of SL Wrestling to get down to brass tacks on what it takes to play, program, and be the game. My name is DJV, founder and Fed owner of Decibel and for Wrestling since 2K22, founder of the SL Wrestling Archival and History Cataloging Project Fight Forever, and curious about where we've been and excited about where we're going. With me today is somebody who is very near and dear to my heart. Who do I have with me today on the show?
I'm Dante Dalmova. I am the owner and founder of United Furry Wrestling.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Dante, it's good to have you here with. How did you get into SL Wrestling?
Well, I had known wrestling existed. I've been on SL almost 20 years now, and I'd known about it, sort of. I mean, I was a role player like most furries are, and I'd seen wrestling rings and wrestling gear, and I'd seen people in wrestling groups carrying championship belts around. I didn't know how it worked. Like I mentioned, I was a role player, so I thought maybe are they like glorified role players? I had no idea, and so I just kind of forgot about it until about 2018 when I got a advertisement in a role play group for virtual furry wrestling, and I was like, huh, I didn't know wrestling was a thing. So I decided to go check it out, and that was the first incarnation of Primal. It was being run by Sparksy. That's where I met a lot of the people I would get to know well later on. And I watched one show, and I was like, you know what, this is awesome. I think I need to participate in this, and yeah, I signed up for Primal right after the show.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Did you have any personal connections to pro wrestling prior to joining SL Wrestling?
Only a little bit. I wasn't a huge wrestling fan at first. You know, uh, I grew up in the mid '80s, so we all liked Hulk Hogan fighting like $1 Million Man and the Big Boss Man and all that stuff. And uh, later in the '90s, I kind of checked out on wrestling. I wasn't really interested in it. Then about probably the year 2000 is when I got back into pro wrestling. And what really, really ignited my love for pro wrestling in real life was Lucha Underground. That to me, Lucha Underground was like just one of like the best storytelling like wrestling federations I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, if you're sleeping on Lucha Underground, by the way, listener, go check it out because it's really really cool.
Yes, Lucha Underground is amazing.
Oh, what? How did UFW get started? What are kind of the origin points of that?
Well, so like I said, I was with VFW, which became Primal for a little while, and then that unfortunately had to close down temporarily. So then I went over to FWF, run by Rocco, which is still going. Uh, Ran there for a couple years as a wrestler, and then Rocco let me become a booker. Then he kind of let me become a manager, kind of helping run things day to day. Eventually, Rocco did have to step away, and he left the Fed to me. However, since FWF was Rocco's creation, I did not feel right using like the name, the logo, and stuff. So, we pulled our roster, came up with a bunch of names and stuff we liked. Everybody voted, and eventually we came on the name United Furry Wrestling. And we've been going for about 3 years now under that brand.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. What are some of the most memorable moments to you in UFW's history so far?
Oh gosh, there's been so many. Everybody has had a lot of these really crazy matches. One thing we all still joke about is at our old arena, the Fight Factory, we had a little popcorn machine there. For some reason, everybody liked to break it. Like, I don't know how many times a week that poor popcorn machine was destroyed. And it was always just, it just kind of became a little bit of a running joke. But, gosh, just there's been one moment I really like a lot. And so there's this guy named Ignitus. He and I were having this feud. Ignitus was a major baby face in the Fed, but due to real life, like being in the Marine Corps, he's about to be deployed, so he was going to have to leave. So we wrote up this story which would culminate in a feud where loser has to leave the Fed forever. Ignitus and I went around. We basically just destroyed the arena, breaking glass, throwing things, just annihilating one another. And in the end, I won. But that wasn't the big payoff. The big payoff was the show the following day. I was supposed to give a promo to the audience. Now, if anybody knows FWFUFW, Dante's like the big mega heel of the Fed. So, soon as my music hits, I step out, come into the ring. I swear I've never heard that much booing in my life. Because the people loved Ignitus, and now he was gone. Like, just for like 5 minutes straight, nothing but boos. It got to a point commentary had to ask the audience to stop so I could talk. And I remember everybody was just really waiting for me to say something, go on in this big rant. I just raised the microphone and said, I'm still here. And it started all over again. The booze. I just threw the microphone down and walked out. The audience was so mad at me for this, and I loved it. It was my favorite heel moment.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Just having the booze just raining down. It's a beautiful moment when you're a heel and you know that you're over as a heel when you have something like that, when you get that kind of heat.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun to be a bad guy sometimes.
Oh yeah. Oh, what does the calendar hold for your Fed in the future? Any big events that you're excited about?
Yeah, so on the 19th, we've got a Scorched Earth, which is our summer supercard. It's going to be the first show at our new sim. After that, during the fall, we have Slamoween, which is our annual Halloween show. And then we'll probably be on break for a little bit for the holidays, but we'll look to come back strong to our regular show schedule in the new year after that.
Awesome, awesome. How would you describe yourself as kind of a Fed owner? What would you say your greatest strengths and weaknesses are?
So I think some of my greatest weaknesses is sometimes I'm overly careful. Like I like to think about things a lot, make sure I'm making the right decision, try not to knee jerk.
Hmm.
As my dad would always tell me, I like to make sure I am responding and not reacting when things come up, which, yeah, I could admit sometimes I may take a little too long to think about things. But I think at the same time, that's kind of a strength too, because I tend to not make snap or knee jerk decisions on things. And one thing I always really try to do is make decisions that I feel are the best for the Fed, even if I know they're going to be unpopular, even if it's a decision I don't like or I know that I don't want to make. I know it's my responsibility to do that and to safeguard the Fed and the people in it.
Hmm. Indeed. Can you share an example of a time when you had to make a tough decision like that significantly impacted your wrestling Fed?
Yeah, so back in the day, we had a time where we had to shut down for 2 months, and in that time we weren't doing any shows, and we had one particular sponsor. I'm not going to name any names, but they were particularly toxic, trying to basically run things behind the scenes, trying to give me orders, talking over me, talking down to me, just really not pleasant people. So I decided that I needed to come up with a new sponsor policy. And I knew this was going to make some of the other sponsors angry. So I basically had to get all the sponsors together, and some of them I told them I was going to do this beforehand. Like for Zona, I had already told a couple others, so they were aware. And I told them all, hey, we're not doing shows right now, so I can't run advertisements for you. And because we're not doing shows right now, you don't have anything to advertise at your places either. So right now, what I'm going to do is drop the sponsors, come up with this new policy, and then I will reinvite you back if you want to come back. A couple people were angry and left and never came back, but most of the sponsors were like, okay, that's cool. They understood. And sometimes having to just rip the band-aid off like that and bleed a little bit is unfortunately necessary on occasion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. What are you passionate about in terms of SL wrestling?
Well, I think three main things really. One is my audience. Like there is no reason to do this except your audience.
Hmm.
If you don't have an audience, then why bother? Because I tell people are probably sick of me telling the story, but I tell new people like, look, back when in FWF very early days when furry wrestling wasn't considered serious, and there were like 10 of us, we would cancel shows sometimes because there was no audience. So fortunately, neither FWF or UFW has that problem anymore. So the audience is something I'm very passionate about. The community too. I very much care about the SL community. You know, I I've had disagreements with other Fed owners, but I do want to see other Feds do well. I don't ever like seeing any Fed go down regardless of who owns it. To me that's always sad to see somebody's, hard work and their dedication and all that time they put in just go down. I hate that.
Hmm.
And then the third thing I care about, obviously, well, is my people. I care very much about everybody in UFW, even if we butt heads sometimes. I will go to great lengths to protect my.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How do you foster a positive and productive work environment for your team and your wrestlers on that note?
So we try to let the UFW wrestlers have a lot of creative freedom. Like for one thing, we don't have a writing team in UFW. Every story you see play out across our shows was written and submitted by the wrestlers. They have pretty much free control over their characters. Obviously, stuff like if you want to change your gimmick or anything like that, obviously you gotta let the managers know because that's a major change. But pretty much everything else, you want to change your look, you want to change your theme song, you want to do this story, do that story. Okay, I mean, each story has like a submission and evaluation process, and you know, uh, plus, I tell people, be your friend and your boss. I try to try to stay pretty off hands about things. I mean, once in a while, got to come in and be like, "Hey guys, we got to do this, we got to do that, blah blah blah." Got to put the boss hat on occasion, like all Fed owners do. But yeah, for the most part, I try to keep UFW a pretty chill environment as best I can.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. How do you deal with disputes that may come about between wrestlers and others?
Well, usually I tell everybody, I don't expect all of you to be friends or best buddies all the time, but we're all adults, we're all here voluntarily, so I do expect you to get along, and if you're having a problem, talk it out. And if you can't talk it out, then you can ask one of the managers for help. We'll try to moderate, we'll try to smooth things over as best we can. Not every problem has an easy solution, but we try to find one. I like to think
Hmm.
for the most part, most people get along pretty well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. In terms of the audience, sometimes you get like have really great audiences, and sometimes you have certain members of audiences that are potentially not there to watch the show itself, but to be a little more, let's say, chaotic. How do you handle conflicts such as trolls and griefer attacks and ensure a safe environment for the rest of the crowd?
So we actually just had this last week. I can't remember what day it was. It was this guy um was getting on the mic, and when new people come in, we have security and they message people, "Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the Fed. Please stay off the mic, blah 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 blah." So there's nobody that can just go, "Oh, I didn't know the rules. You didn't tell me that." Everybody gets told the rules at the beginning of the show, and if you teleport in, you get a message from security on what the rules are. They're pretty basic. Most at every Fed. Stay behind the barricades, don't get on the mic, blah 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 blah. Guy gets on the mic. We tell him to stop. He gets on again. He gets ejected. You know, he says he's sorry. Security says you can come back, but stay off the mic. So we let him back. He comes back, gets on the mic again, and starts yelling slurs. And we're like, okay, you're okay. Go. Bye.
Oh,
It
jeez.
was unfortunate because it was caught on our YouTube stream. So I was the streamer, so I'm like, I had to go apologize to the YouTube watchers. I'm like, I'm sorry, folks. We apologize for any offensive language. There was a griefer that got on the mic, but it was only for like half a second. So thankfully, most people just didn't even notice the guy. But we have a really good security team. They're able to basically pretty much as soon as they start to move, jump over the barricade. Usually they're ejected and banned. And all the wrestlers and staff and comms are really good about just not acknowledging trolls and ignoring them and just continuing on with the show like nothing ever happened. So unfortunately, griefing is pretty common in SL, especially SL wrestling and other performances. But yeah, we just have a good security team, and in the past, the Furzona security teams helped us out a lot too.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. What would you consider to be some of the keys to successful marketing and promotion for your wrestling fed?
Mm. I'll admit that's one of my weak points. Is I don't probably don't do as much as promotion as I should. We do a lot on Twitter. It's kind of difficult for me because, in all honesty, I hate social media. I don't like logging in. I don't like looking at it. It's to me, I just overall don't like social media. But I think you should engage with your audience. Like me, I prefer to kind of do it within Second Life. So,
Mm.
like one thing I think a lot of feds started doing after shows is meet and greets. Hang out with the wrestlers, talk to them, talk to the staff, just go out there and interact. I've found a lot of fans really like personal interaction. Like some of my characters, like there was one guy, I can't remember his name, but he at every UFW show, I would come up to him in the audience and personally insult him, and he would tell me, "Man, like I wait every week for you to come up and insult me. This is great." Like I would insult his clothes. I think like can't remember he was wearing some one time, but I was just like, "Man, this guy looks like he owns a Subaru," and like everybody like thought that was really hilarious for some reason. I don't know why, but just yeah, like I think just take time to engage with the fans. We've done stuff too. Like we had a raffle a couple of years ago to win a custom UFW bike, which actually was made by Ryan Jameson from Premier Wrestling. He made this bike for us. There's only one in all of SL right now, and one of my our friend she works over at Club Ren Mistral Hema. She actually owns that bike. But,
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome.
But yeah, stuff like that. Just I'd say pretty much just go out of your way for your fans. After all, they're pretty much aside from the wrestlers, the fans are the lifeblood of your fed.
Indeed, indeed. How do you gather feedback from fans? Like, what are your kind of methods to getting the feedback from them?
Honestly, a lot of people just talk to me, and they've told me that out of all the group leaders they've ever met in SL, I tend to be one of the most approachable. You know, fans be like, "Hey, I liked this. I didn't really like that. Why did you do this? Why did you do that?" And I'm more than happy to sit there and chat with them about it and kind of explain why we do things or other stuff. Like I remember one fan, we had this match that was going really, really well, and then this female heel runs in and ruins it. And this one fan messaged me. She's like, she was actually like legitimately mad. She's like, "That was a really great match. Why did you do that? Why did she run in and ruin the match?" Blah 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 blah. And I was like, "Did it make you mad?" She's like, "Yes." I was like, "Okay then." She's like, "Wait, that was supposed to happen?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Well, goddamn." Just like little moments like that, I think are fun. But yeah, I also kind of gauge the fans' reactions during shows. Listen to the staff too, see how they feel about how things and stories and other stuff are going. But yeah, I pretty much got the open door policy. Like any of the fans want to talk to me, go ahead and message me. I'd love to chat with people.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Do you have any tips for new Fed owners on building and maintaining a fan base and a roster?
I would say communication is key. You know, I know that just kind of sounds cliche, but I've found that in all my years in SL wrestling and every fed I've been in, which is a lot, uh, communication. You have to be able and willing to talk to people. You know, if you got an issue with something like a manager is doing, if you don't tell them, then they don't know, and it's not going to get fixed. You know, you can grumble, you can gripe, you complain, but that doesn't solve the problem.
Hmm.
So, and for the managers, you know, listen to your people. If they come to you with something, don't like be like, "Oh, how dare you? How dare you judge? You can't consider you. How dare you question me?" No, that is the entirely wrong attitude to have. You know, you have to be willing to listen. You have to be willing to take criticism, and you have to be willing to criticize some of your own people too, constructively. You know, you don't ever belittle your staff or your people. Don't demean them. So I would say communication and respect are the two biggest things, and both of those go both ways. Like just because you're a Fed owner doesn't mean you're like high and mighty and perfect.
Exactly, exactly. Your invest is the same as all of the wrestlers and all of the meet creative and commentators and the like.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people be like, "Oh, well, Dante, you're the Fed owner because you must be the best wrestler." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Not by far. There are a lot of people on the roster who are a hell of a lot better than I am in the ring. I feel like a dinosaur compared to some of these new people sometimes."
Oh yeah, there is a bright future for SL wrestling. It feels like.
Yes, I
Um.
definitely agree.
Oh yeah. What is your vision for the future of your Fed?
Honestly, I did talk to some of my folks about this. I'd like to start pushing the envelope like we used to. Like you were in UFW with me, V. You know all the crazy crap we used to do. Dante's out here stealing people's souls. We had like electrified cage matches. We had a living cartoon character who ran over a deer with her little cartoon car. Just
Yeah.
all that stuff. Like sometimes I feel like we got too focused on real wrestling. It's Second Life, and we're furries. We're already giant cartoon talking animal people for Pete's sake. So let's push the envelope a little further. I think that's something I'd like to see UFW do. Kind of go back to what we used to do.
Yeah.
Be a little more fantastical. I think not like
Oh
over
yeah.
the top or anything, but just let's kind of go back to that like more intense storytelling, I think.
Oh, definitely, definitely. When your time uh, comes to an end in SL wrestling and you eventually retire, what legacy do you hope to leave as the owner of your Fed?
I would like people to think I was fair about what I did, or I tried my best to be fair to everybody. I very much try to keep my personal and professional feelings about things separate. While there may be people I don't agree with or don't get along with, I've tried very hard to always give that person a fair shake, just like I would anybody else.
Hmm.
And I would like to think that people remember me for that, being fair, being honest, being straightforward, and just kind of willing to do whatever was for the Federation's best.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. We are almost out of time, but one last question. Do you have any predictions or hopes for the future of SL wrestling in general?
No, I just hope things keep on getting better. I've been in a lot of feds. I've seen a lot of feds come and go. I hope the feds that exist now continue to succeed, continue to get better. Any new feds that spring up, you know what? I hope they stick around. I hope they do well. And you know what? Basically, I just hope SL Wrestling keeps on going until they shut the grid down.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, Dante, I appreciate you coming and talking with me. I appreciate Premier Wrestling for giving us the opportunity to talk about this. Do you have any pluggables that you'd like to plug?
Oh, absolutely. Uh, I'd like people we're not going to be there anymore. But for all our furries listening, go check out Club for Zona, where they're one of the oldest furry clubs in SL. Supported us for a long time, and I want to thank these other feds that have helped me over the years. Premier Wrestling, of course, and Vince Aftermath. I've been a commentator there for a long time. I was with OEW. I was with BCW. Of course, want to thank Sparksy for getting me into SL Wrestling. And Rocco for putting up with me in FWF. And of course, I want to thank all the people in UFW for trusting me to steer the ship all these years.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. You can find me and quite a few other people over at Decibel Info Wrestling, and yeah, you can go check out Premiere with their shows. And yeah, until next time, this has been Ringmasters. I'm DJ V. Dante was here with me today, and next time, well, you never know who's going to be in the Fed owner chair over there. So yeah, have a great night, and we will catch you next time. Bye for now.